Saying what month it is in Korean is very simple. You simply take a Korean number, such as 1, 2, 3, etc., and you attach 월 to the end of it, meaning month. So January is just 1월, February 2월, and then December, which is the 12th month of the year, is 12월, 12 months. There's an exception though for June and October. While you might think that these would become 6월 and 10월, these actually instead become 6월 and 10월. So why is that? The quick answer is because these are easier to say than 6월 and 10월, and they sound a little bit better. But in my opinion, the long answer is more interesting. So over 60% of the Korean language originally comes through Chinese. And Chinese is composed of characters. And each character in Chinese has what's called a 본음 and also a 속음. 본음 means the original, 본 meaning original, sound, of a character as it is written, as it's supposed to be said. 속음, however, 속 from common, as in common people, is the regular way that common people might pronounce it regardless of what its 본음 should be. So what this means is that there were sounds in Chinese that people just said, nah, I'm not gonna say it like that, I'm gonna say it this way. And those sounds became so common that they became used more often than the official original pronunciation of those characters. And this kind of thing happened in two cases. One case when the word was simply easier to say if something was difficult to pronounce, then sounds could have changed over time. And another way would have been if the sounds simply were nicer if said that way. Perhaps a word sounded a little bit awkward or difficult to say, saying it the correct way so people would instead use this more common pronunciation to say it. So while it was easy for people to say 육 and 십 by themselves or with some words, in certain conjugations it became more difficult, such as 6월 and 10월, and these words changed to simply becoming 6월 and 10월 according to their 속음. This commonly happened with the letters 릴 and 니은, which were especially difficult to say. One example would be 8일 for 8 days. However, 8일 was easy enough to say, but when people added 초8일, Buddha's birth date, it became more easy to simply say 초파일. So 8 became pa because of this 릴 at the bottom, which was difficult to pronounce in this combination. So it's not to say that these sounds change just because they're difficult to pronounce, 육 and 십. It's because in these combinations, people felt that it would be easier simply to not pronounce them that way. Another example is the word 토론, meaning like a discussion, and this character, 론, is easy enough to say in 토론. However, in the word 의론, they changed it to become simply 의논 for ease of pronunciation. And this concept of changing words to be easier to pronounce and sound better is known as 활음조, meaning to have a pleasing sound. This concept is what drove a lot of words in Korean to change from their original pronunciations, their 본음, to become what they are today. Now, I should note that this change is not a result of regular sound change rules. Sound change rules are how you would read something differently from how it's written, according to what makes it easier to pronounce. This is when the words themselves are actually written differently to reflect original 속음 of how people would pronounce a certain word. And in fact, the Korean language has official spelling rules known as 한글 맞춤법. And they have one rule, which I'll put on the screen and I'll translate it here. It says, for words of Chinese origin, each sound shall be written according to its respective sound in 본음 and 속음. So if a word is pronounced a certain way according to its 속음, it should also be written that way. So that's why June is 6월 and October is 10월. They're easier to say and they sound nicer. So what about you? Can you think of any other sounds that also follow their common pronunciation instead of their original one? Let me know in the comments. And thank you to all of my YouTube supporters and Patreon sponsors. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.